Representative Lauren Boebert really does not like government benefits. And she's going to tell you how much she doesn't like them in this next video.
We're here to tell government, we don't want your benefits. We don't want your welfare. Don't come knocking on my door with your Fauci outie. You leave us the hell alone.
All right. So now here's the irony about this. Lauren Boebert took the benefits. Yes, that's right. Lauren Boebert has talked about the days in which she herself had welfare. Now, I think that's totally fine. Yes, guess what? Turns out welfare is there for when you need it. The thing is that what Lauren Boebert wants to do, and my problem with her, is that, oh, now that she used that to get to the place where she's at now, and oh, she's got the American dream, she owned a restaurant, and now she's a member of Congress. Well, now she wants to kick the ladder out from behind her, from underneath her, okay? And so that's a little bit of a problem. Again, welfare's actually great. I think it's great. It's there to help people, to get them back on their feet. That's what it's supposed to be. Now, this isn't what conservatives say it is. Conservatives say that, oh, no, welfare, oh, man, terrible welfare. We're spending so much money on lazy people, and they're not doing anything good, and so we should just, destroy the welfare system. Okay, for one, how many people are on welfare? And by the way, this is the temporal need for families, right? So about 1.5 million Americans had actually obtained, and these are some older numbers because I don't have any more recent numbers on welfare. But in 2015, about 1.5 million families were reported to be on the Temporary Aid for Needy Families program, or TANF, or welfare. Okay, so now, obviously, I would assume that the number probably went up during the pandemic, as a lot of people lost their jobs. All right, but again, I don't have data for how many people are on it. And at this point, I would assume that that number is, again, higher, but will eventually go back down, as it usually does, and I've got more data on that. Now, secondly, this is not for bums who don't want to work. In 2012, the most recent year for which comprehensive data is available, more than 42% of TANF families included a household member that had a job. So that's almost half that have somebody who works. So no, not for lazy freeloaders. The vast majority also, and by the way, most TANF recipients only get benefits for short periods of time. For example, from 2008 to 2011, as the Great Recession ended, most of those people were out of the program in 4 months or less. So, yeah, for only, oh my God, I'm going through a hard time. Well, okay, there's a welfare program. I will sign up for welfare, and then I will try to get out of the situation that I'm in. But this welfare is actually helping it so that my family does not starve. Okay, great, that's what it's for. To make sure that you and your family don't starve or lose your house or whatever. Great, that's what it's for. So now the vast majority of Americans who also got TANF benefits in the years of 1999 to 2008 actually received it for no more than 2 of those years, according to the Department of Health and Human Services. Now I'm giving you all that context and information because, well, I mean, it's important to have the information and to show you that it's not what conservatives say that it is. Boebert, as I said, benefited from the system perfectly fine. But again, she wants to kick the ladder out from behind her and end that system, which is already incredibly limited in what they give. You know how much, on average, people get on welfare? Oh, it must be like 3-4 grand. They must be living high in the hog, right? TANF cash grants averaged about $442 per family as of July 2015. The maximum monthly grant available to households with 1 adult and 2 children ranged from a low of $170 in Mississippi to a maximum of $923 in Alaska. At most, if you're in Alaska and getting $900 a month, that's like 10 grand. Max. That's for the whole year. That's not monthly. They're not living high on the hog. Okay? No. It's for like a year. Now, of course, conservatives will do the trick. They're like, oh man, what about all the other welfare programs? You got food stamps, you got Medicaid. Add all that stuff together and people might be making close to minimum wage. So that's like around $15,000 per year in government benefits. Okay, now here's an idea. If you don't want to spend that money on welfare, all right, I get it. Here's what you should do. Raise the minimum wage. Raise the minimum wage, and then make it easier for families with children to get affordable childcare. I mean, that's really simple. Just do that. Those two things would actually help out a lot of families and get more people back into work. And again, better paying jobs means less people taking government benefits. And that's it. Again, just a thought. Now, of course, you got some criticism for this. One member here is AOC. Here's what she said. Quote, I think I have a picture of the tweet here. Maybe. Nope. That's not it. All right, never mind. I thought I had it. Here's what she said. Tell them loud and proud, girl. GOP will strip your unemployment protections and dismantle any semblance of a public safety net we have left. Then make working people pay way more for everything on low wages while Wall Street gets a meal ticket. Good old conservative values, baby. True. She ain't wrong. You want to know where the real welfare is going? The real welfare goes to the rich and corporations. Under the Trump administration's gigantic tax cut, 60% of the benefits went to the richest 20% of Americans, with the largest cut of share of income actually going to the top 5%, whereas corporate taxes were cut 40%. And then we find out, thanks to ProPublica, that the richest people in America, as a result of all the tax cuts and loopholes, again, remember, the main promise of the tax cuts for the Trump tax cut, we're going to lower the rate and we're going to close all the loopholes, says Mitch McConnell. Oh, we're going to close those loopholes. And what did they do? They cut the rate, they lowered the rate, and then left almost all the loopholes in. And so, yes, their effective tax rate of some of the wealthiest Americans ends up being less than 1% in some cases, 3% in others, an ungodly low amount. That's what's wrong with this country. Corporations, by the way, like Amazon, paid absolutely nothing. Bezos himself paid next to nothing, percentage-wise. Gee, I wonder how these guys are able to afford to go into space right now. They can do their own space race. This is something that countries themselves used to do. Entire nations were doing space races with each other. But now we don't have to do that because we got a couple of billionaires. No, tax the rich. Tax the rich. And not only that, but for the Paycheck Protection Program, we're not done with the welfare, right? Because that was another gigantic form of corporate welfare, the Paycheck Protection Program. During Trump's administration, most of that aid went to large corporations, with only 5% of recipients taking half of the $525 billion that went out the door. I don't think it's the people on welfare that are the real problem. Do you? We do have a class of parasites that are sucking up all the resources for themselves. They're called the 1%, top 1%. Now, look, to be fair, some of those millionaires are saying, hey, look, this isn't fair. Yeah, okay, we don't need all this money. And we know that there are major societal problems that happen when people like us have all the money. So instead of, continuing to pass more tax cuts for me, which I don't need, I would like my money to go to do something better. Now, those people, they're good people. Yes, they're also, by the way, people that don't want to end up in the guillotine. To be fair, those people are a minority. They're not in the ones that are in control of the Republican Party. Now, the Republican Party is controlled by people like the Mercers or the remaining Koch brother that pay politicians to continue to, and by the way, so they continue to use public infrastructure and then call to privatize that infrastructure so that they can monetize that infrastructure, pollute the air, pay their workers like crap, and at the end of the day, not pay any taxes. That's who the Republican Party is. As for Boebert, going back to her, Boebert was on welfare. So at this point, she's kind of a class traitor. I mean, again, later on, she's like, oh, I use that welfare. It's kind of like the story of Paul Ryan. Oh, I grew up on Social Security, and then I used that money, and I got somewhere with it. Well, that's great and all. In fact, that is the American dream. Only problem is, now you're trying to kill the American dream for other people, which basically, again, it's already doesn't exist at this point. It never really did. But at the same time, the thing that you would say is the American dream, like, hey, starting from the bottom, and now I'm up here, and now I'm doing much better, and, yes, I had government benefits along the way. Well, now they just want to make sure that nobody gets that opportunity. Nobody gets those benefits. That's the problem. And so, look, Lauren Boebert, not a regular working class person. You know what Lauren Boebert found? She found the money. Just the same with all these big time Republicans. They're more than happy to kick the working class down if it means that they get a bigger paycheck. And that's really what it's all about. If you enjoyed this video, please give us a like and share with your friends. You can subscribe and help out the channel by becoming a patron. It's patreon.com/Jeff Waldorf, or you can become a channel member as well by hitting the join button below.